なる点にはございます。
All right, let's do this whole thing. It's been a while. I've never looked at full body like this before, so it's going to be my first time looking at that. Going to try to give a little bit of perspective on things and some commentary. Um, Sig versus MST Evo Japan 2020. Sig is player 1, I believe. Player 2 is MST. I think. Might be mistaken. Um, we'll know as the set goes, but it doesn't really matter as much. Just gonna be, talk about, try to give some perspective. Actually, I think player 2 is Sig, looking at that, because that was an opening I showed him for Prison. So I think player 2 is Sig and player 1 is MST. They're doing a button check right now, so let's see. Skip ahead a little bit. So this was Evo Japan, which was, gosh, I don't know, January 26th or something like that, early end of January 2020. Um, Trying to think what the rule set really was. Japan had a couple different things. All stages were legal, so Prison of Despair was a legal stage. Um, so that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, K Catherine, that's a classic MST move. Random stage, that's another Evo Japan rule, was pretty much random stage start, any stage is legal. And then uh, they use bans instead of striking, actually. So once you banned a stage, it was gone forever. They had a handy little sheet. Maybe it'll come up in the video or not, but essentially, instead of striking, you had bans. So it's kind of interesting rule set. Different than the U.S. because we've always definitely played with prison band, and so far we've played with a ranged band as well. I think my perspective on the map has changed a little bit. Um, so yeah, the start there, it's kind of always the same. There's not really too much that you can do different. Stages attached in the back, and so you actually can't push it out. That would be really interesting if you could, but you can't. So it kind of always leads to come up to this kind of like 5x3 structure. And from here you can do a couple different things. You can either choose to um, kind of fight, and so the high volatile areas are right here, or both players kind of do this interesting thing where they try to get their own side in a good climbing position and then try to stall out their opponent. Very rarely does the stage actually get to the goal. One of the new things that was kind of neat that's been like being practiced, and I'm sure it'll come up on this map, is there's a whole reversal mechanic. And so if you knock somebody down on any of these back platforms, actually what you can do is you have enough time to go off the side and swap with them, and it'll come up, I'm sure. Very interesting, and leads to some combo potential. But yeah, as you can see, MST side, it looks a little bit better for climbing. Here you can see MST doing this tech, right, where you knock them down, you go off the side, and then you swap. Now here, this is kind of tricky for player 2 because they only have these two blocks to play with. This side's blocked off by that one. So I don't exactly know the best way for this to go down. I would think what player 1 wants to do is come here and pull this. But we'll see what actually happens. Okay, so player 1 went too far, ended up on top. That tends to happen a lot in full body, is that, you just have so many inputs. There's going to be a little bit of a fight over here. Player 1, you can do some block crush stuff with the 3x3, so I think that's what MST was trying to go for. Here, Sig starts to do, you can kind of do like this wobble setup, where if you have 2 spots away, you can always do, you can just go left, right, left, right. But it looks like Sig kind of got a little bit bored of that. That's usually, it doesn't really help you too much. It's kind of tedious to do, and there's probably like, I guess you could say, oh yeah, the guaranteed win, but it's not guaranteed. And because the difference between classic and this one is that the timing is a lot more strict, I guess. Oh, this kind of crazy pattern is nuts. I don't know. So let me get that off the screen. Um, if I'm looking at this, honestly, the big things in my head are both of these players have X factor, all right? So that can lead to something happening. I don't know what exactly. Um, but this is kind of tricky. What I might like to try to do is I might like to pull this over to here and then use an X factor and climb onto this. That might be nice. That is kind of scary because, you know, since this is like a Tetris block, this one thing gets pushed, you die. So maybe that wouldn't be too good. The other thing is that over here looks pretty stable. I mean, there are lots of blocks doing stuff. So what might be nice is actually to stand here, use your X, and get up here, and just kind of threaten to do stuff. Um, Here is a skull, so that's kind of dangerous. I mean, you could, but you're gonna give up your X. And what might be kind of nice is to actually go up here, get the skull, and then play from above, but infect your opponent, right? Because it does an AOE. So maybe grab it and kind of like spider around this block and force 1P to either, you know, take the curse as well. That way you guys are at least neutral, or something else. So that's what's kind of on my mind is I definitely think the right side is stronger here. There are, you know, a bunch of individual blocks holding this whole thing up. This side's kind of weak. Yeah. So that is what is on my mind as I'm looking at this. So let's see how this scramble plays out. So it looks like, yeah, 2P here. Okay. Gets the hit. Again, goes for the skull. You see he infects 1P. That's pretty nice. Skull's going to cause probably some mischief here. A little bit of misinputs from 2P. But yeah, you can see these players going up. Unfortunately, this way kind of ends. So I guess, really, this is actually super tough. Because there's no easy solve. I don't see one. I guess maybe the closest thing would be as 2P, you could do something like this, push this, and then throw your block here, right? Um, and if you throw your block there, you can spider around to here, and then you can push this, and this might fall. I don't know if this is connected. I don't know if that's the same block. But that's something that's on my mind. This is actually kind of scary as well because in full body, 1P wins this interaction. So 2P actually might be good with just pushing this in. That could be pretty neat. Um, I think that could work. So some other things just floating around. Okay, he's able to get the push, get the hit. 2P gets it. He's going to do a swap here. 2P gets it. Oh, man. All right, so now we're back to this middle bit. Okay, another little fight. I would use the drink. Good job using the drink coming up. I would have tried to come around. Invisible doesn't really help you out too much here. This is no clear victory. I think this block is pretty key right now because it's, you know, one level higher. Uh, and with that, I think Sig wins. Yeah. So that's good. Good play from Sig there. Right, yeah, you get the win there. So moving ahead, that was just round one. Let's go into round two. Let's see what happens. Yep, again, same start. Sometimes, I guess, maybe the only thing to think about at that start is do you get an item, and really, do you get an X Factor? And if you get an X Factor, it might be worth it. Oh, this is kind of scary. This, this block is really scary because if you get flipped here, this way blocks off that, and this way blocks off that, so you're pretty much just stuck here. 2P can, or whoever flips can pull this, and so things get a little bit crazy. That's on my mind, is that this back row is now really scary. Uh-huh. It just keeps getting scarier. Now the scary spot's over here. You got some swap stuff going on. That was pretty wild. That was some full body shenanigans over here. Let's get a little replay of that. So 1P goes a little bit too far. 2P chases, and that looked like that was either, I don't know if that was a swap or if 1P just got up. I think 1P tried to swap, but 2P was going for the butt bump off. And so 2P was just holding, that way. So they landed, and then 1P came up and then swapped around. That was neat. All right, let's see what we got. We got round 3, ready, go. It's probably going to be about the same opening as always. Yep. No items spawn this time, so just straight up a range. Pretty much the only difference in getting up is going to be players who link their movement or not. So it's just about being tight. There's an X factor. I would like to grab that if I was 2P. I would value that very much. Looks like 1P kind of does the same thing that I would have done and goes for that. If I'm 1P, I probably don't want to mess around with 2P too much. I think I'm a greedy climber, and I would have climbed here. But I guess that's kind of fair because then that leaves 2P can kind of push this super easily. So it's probably best to stay down here. But I don't know, like, I guess when I'm trying to think about this map, I don't know exactly what the win conditions are. Right? Like if I'm looking at this map and I think, okay, well, how do I know if I win or not? It looks like it's mostly a mix of trying to do these, okay, I'll knock you off this platform, as well as, okay, how do I get into a position where I can stay higher? And so I guess going forward, what I might like to see is kind of leaving structures like this up on your side, like literally just pulling 1 or 2 blocks, and then just messing with your opponent the entire time. Don't devote any time to climbing or doing anything like that. Like if 1P literally just stayed for the rest of the game on this, just in this column, in this file, and blocked 2P from getting over and messing with the thing that they have created, I think that is the best way to play this map right now. I don't know how else to really count your wins because it's just so fragile. It's crazy. You see now, though, that 2P has gotten over. Oop, it's going to be a little bit crazy. A little bit of swap action. Nice job from 2P. Oh, 2P should have pulled that. If 2P would have pulled that, they would have blocked 1P's way up. There you go. Perfect. And that's checkmate, right? So 2P here is free to climb, but that's game. They go into the center. Yep. That's just it. Okay, cool. So 2P takes that win. Let's see if we can skip ahead here to the next game. So this was losers finals. So this is going to be a 3 out of 5. We see Torture Chamber. Torture Chamber has the spikes. From the first game, it hasn't changed drastically. Some stuff at the very bottom of the stage has changed. But overall, the stage is more or less the same. It certainly plays usually the same. Um, some of the stuff down here is a little bit different, but that's not really important most of the time. So let's see. 2P forgets who they were. Okay, that's cool. We'll forget that happens. Sometimes that happens, So let's see. 2P's down a stock here. They won the first game. Something that I like to do here is that I think that once you see this pattern, this 2 pattern, I like to do some kind of pushes because it's kind of easy to push out. Full body, it might be a little bit too fast for really that now. But that's something that I like to keep in mind is that I think this is, especially the 2 pattern here, is pretty easy to push out. So I certainly like threatening it. Seeing what happens. 1P is going to take the early positional advantage, it looks like. 2P kind of does what I'm talking about here. This is kind of slow. I don't really like this. I would have liked it if instead they would have pushed. They would have committed to the push, but okay. That's another thing that you can do in full body. If you didn't notice that, if you link the movement right, when you climb, you can pull on a spike block and it won't kill you. So that's pretty neat. 2P getting unfortunate here with the skull. I think what is a better solve here is honestly middle block, pull this, get onto here, and you can push this way, right? You can push that way, you can push that, and this guy falls. you can just leave, you know, you don't have to worry about the falling block. You can just push this to this side, and then this connects, right? Then you've got this nice, like, 3-bit here, but there's not a lot of room for 1P to climb, and so you can start to do some mischief. Now, it is a little bit scary because 1P will have the height advantage here, and so they'll have this block, which means that, you know, if you haven't deactivated this, you will die. So probably the best thing to do is to walk this way, come back, and then pull. Um, but yeah, I think that usually the next like step in the climbing meta for multiplayer is less of this climbing around the outside and more about climbing in the tower and using the structure. Reza does this a lot for his Babel solves, and a lot of the really good Babel players do it. Is where, you know, they push the stage and they actually go into the stage to do their climbs, as opposed to this kind of tricky maneuvering, because, you know, even if 2P gets all the way up here, they only have this one block. They don't have a lot of room to work with, and 1P can very easily block this. So that's something else to think about going into the future. So hit play, here we go. 1P, pretty free, has this. Unfortunately, another skull. 2P is going to wait it out, use the juice, the wine. Here I would like yeah, I like this solve, this right, and yeah, I really like that a lot. Is there a better solve here than going this way? I'm trying to think if there's something faster that they can do. Probably what I would do is I would pull this here. I would pull this out instead of trying to go up. Let's see what 2P tries to do this thing. I don't like it. I would have liked a pull down here and going this way, because okay, this works. It's doable. This is tricky. I think the key here is you have to push this so that these guys fall, and then you have to use your drink. Unfortunately, though, you're going to run over this block, so I guess you can't do that. Yeah. Okay, but yeah, 1P gets the win on that one. So early mistake by Sig, and then just getting outplayed a little bit. Some different decisions. MST had some pretty good items. Definitely, you know, the continued X factor really hurt Sig. That's why I would have liked to see a push out, is because that's really in full body. Definitely the only way that you can fight somebody above you is you have to push out. Because very rarely can you catch up. So Cathedral scores now 1-1. Cathedral has changed a lot. The part about Cathedral that has changed has been the opening. They added more depth to it, and so it is pretty much, there are less openings that are viable. There are maybe 2 or 3 that are really that you can do, as opposed to before you probably had like 2 dozen. So it's really interesting how just one subtle change has completely like kind of changed this level. Here we're going to see a bit of idiot push, classic. Pretty much it's going to be a game of who can get up first, and then once the first player gets up, oh, okay, these guys both decide to do this little fancy. They take the idiot push on the inside as opposed to the outside. I think I prefer the outside. I don't really know what the inside gives you. I think like your win condition, right, if you are both in the idiot push, is that, well, I can push my outside block. Similarly for P1, right, symmetrical. You know, you can push your inside block, your block falls, and then you can push that to the outside, so you have at least one level up. Meanwhile, on the inside here, you have this, I mean, you have a roof above you, right? So it's a little bit, I don't know exactly what this gives you by going to the inside. So I think it's just another variation on the idiot push, but I don't think it gives you too much. So I think eventually this should be retired. Actually, what might be neat, now that I say that, is, you know, you do this, watch what happens on MST side, right? You do this bit, right? This comes down. What if you go around the outside and you spider back up, right? Like, you just do the idiot push, but now you're just back into the position where you would have been at the start. I don't know if that really gives you anything more than just doing the idiot push the proper way. So probably, I don't understand. Right, now this inside, I mean, they're literally tied. There's nothing they can do. So I don't know what this is going to be exactly. I don't know what both players are thinking. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what the win condition is. If it was me playing, honestly, I would drop. I would let my opponent get ahead. I would drop and start building my way up. Um, so we'll see what happens. Right, you see how even though this block falls, right? I mean, the whole dynamic has changed because you still have this roof, so you can't do anything with it. He has to push it. I guess you get this back row block instead, but I don't know. It's not that, right? Okay, 1P gets his X Factor again. That's going to be pretty nice. 2P pushing to make the tower come down to him. I don't really like that solve. This is kind of wacky a little bit. Maybe he's trying to make the tower loose so you can push it out, but it doesn't really look very good. I'd go up for the X. Yep. 1P, meanwhile, here, he's just going to be playing his climbing game. Probably if I'm 1P, I kind of like this position. I don't know exactly what I would do too different. Um, Actually, I think I do know. If I was 1P at this point in time, probably what I would do is I would pull this, go up here, push this way, and then either, depending on how frisky I'm feeling, I would either push this way so that this block falls, stand here, and then push this left and go up this way. Or can I just undo a bunch of this? Yeah, cool. So I definitely like this bit, go up here, push this, maybe spider around, and you know, maybe then I would actually push this to the left because then that would block the way that you came up. Although I guess really just the push right and this falling, but that doesn't quite work so well. So yeah, I think probably the best move here is pull up, push, push, stand, and then push again. I think that is the best for 1P. 2P, it's pretty clear what they have to do. They just have to get up. Probably the best way is, you know, spider around. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. Okay, 1P decides to go this way. I don't really like this as much. It is nice once you get the X Factor, but right now you have to wait for the skull to run out, and 2P is very close. If I was 2P, I'd probably pull this over. Yeah, I like that a lot. You see, okay, 1P just ran out, but now they can't even use their way up. If I was 2P, I'd use... Okay, 2P here is going to opt to play some defense. Especially with this block, this completely changes the dynamic. I mean, the next thing to do is literally get this and use it, right? I mean, that completely kind of blocks 1P's options here. Probably if I am 1P, what I might do is I might push this right and push this in so that this whole thing comes down. That is on my mind. I really like the thought of that. Definitely, anytime the opponent, like at least what I've learned is that anytime my opponent is controlling this kind of like draw bridge kind of scenario, right? Like this, I mean, you know, even if you play this out, 2P has the advantage, or this whole block, they control it. And so usually the best way I found is just, okay, I don't care about that. I'm not going to try to take control of that. I'm going to try to make my own way up. So that's just the decision making I've come to. But, you know, obviously that is a super advantageous position. So it might be worth fighting over. Let's see what 1P does. 1P does have this item block as well, so that's something to keep in mind. 1P actually could just step to the right and throw their block to the left. That could lead to something interesting if 2P pulls this, but we'll see how it goes. Instead, 1P, you see, I don't really like this as much. Now, I did not like that item throw there, or if you're going to do that, like, there's just... If you're going to do that, I think what 2P what 2P should have done is they should have pushed their advantage and they should have pulled this. Kind of the same way that, you know, it just recreates the situation that was just there, except now you're another level up and 1P has used their item. Probably what 1P could do there is... So now, you know, there's going to be a block here. That's cool. What 1P can do is they can push this, this falls, they go up, they pull this block, and then they spider around. They'll spider around, you know, on this level, and that would be pretty safe. So that is what I think 2P should have done. 2P, it looks like, is instead prioritizing this item block. That might be kind of interesting. I think they can get this, pull this over, come up here, and I guess they're relying on a block being behind here, and they can do a fancy solve in the back. That looks kind of nice, so that might work out. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Let's see. Okay, 1P does 2P does this push. I don't like this push at all. Yeah, really what they should have done is they should have done a pull. But okay. 1P is in a very good position here. 1P is going to get this drop kick. Yeah, now 2P is kind of in a sticky wicket. I don't know exactly what to do. Well, they have an item block, so they got a couple different choices. So I'll just let that play out. They kind of do that weird push. I mean, just wasted a little bit of time, a little bit of flubs. Yep. That wasn't any good. Getting a little flustered here. Okay, he's going to make his way up the left here. 1P, working pretty hard. Yeah. Like, I don't understand what 1P was really doing here. I guess maybe he thought that 2P was in a pretty weak position, so he was trying to keep his own way up. Like, if I'm 1P and I'm looking at this, I mean, I don't know. The first thing I think of, I guess, is stand here, push this right, and then push this right, and then pull this. You know what I mean? That gives you, you'll have a really nice 3 landing here. You'll have these 2 blocks. This won't be here. And then if you really wanted to, even, you could go a step further and you could push some of this and make this column fall. And 2P might be in a little bit of a tricky scenario because, this is only a 2 and this is a 1. So they're kind of a little bit not in a super great climbing spot. But looking at this, I mean, 1P pulls this. Like, I guess he's trying to prep for 2P trying to come over, but there's not enough space for 2P really to even try that. Like, I guess what 2P could have done and what 1P might be scared of is excuse me is 2P coming down here, pushing this block and pulling this and coming up this way. But I mean, I think that this is not worth it. Instead, the thing is to climb here. So let's see how this plays out. Gets the item. You see, he kind of threatens this drawbridge thing. He went for a very hard read on the climb there. Okay, that's fine. Now they both have the item. This is a little bit scary. I guess if I'm 1P, the player who gets up here first, I think, should go up to this row and push this block, right? And then, essentially, really what you can kind of do is, if you have enough time, I think it kind of works out, is, you're here, they're just getting to the spider. You come up, they come up, you push, right? And now you have this top row. You can kind of play a little bit and threaten drop kicks on here, and this column is very bad. So I guess when I look at this kind of scenario, I think, okay, who can get the high ground first and who can keep it? And that's going to be the crucial bit. So let's see how these guys play it out. I don't know off the top of my hand. It's been, a couple weeks since this match. So, okay, I really like that from 1P. I would have liked if they would have stayed maybe just even in the middle, honestly. Okay, they do this. I would use the item here. I think I would just use my X. I would burn it. If I'm 1P. I think I would burn it and just sit on this. There's going to be this crazy weird fight here that's going to burn down some time on the clock. And that makes it just really more chaotic because, once you get to a point, you won't even be able to safely cross over to here or here, even though they look very doable right now. I mean, you just drop and kind of do some stuff. So, I don't know, man. This is a little bit scary. I guess I think the two things that really stand out to me are either item to get onto this block or here and push this block over to here. I think that might be doable as well because now, you'll have this 2 high here and then you could pull this and kind of block this off. That might be kind of nice. And once you're there, I mean, this block falls, but you can do stuff with this. So I think that is the key bits. I think definitely the key block is this block, though. Obviously, this block in this center column. So let's see what happens. Let's see if they just burn more time. Okay, 1P does that. I really like that. 2P doing this. I mean, honestly, if you're 1P, maybe at this point what you go for is you just pull this. You pull this and you just wait. Right? I mean, 2P can't come up. You automatically get a drop kick. So you're just one variation away from a guaranteed, plus position. 1P uses the item that way. Okay, that's fine. Uh, wow. 1P's doing everything wrong here. I hate to say that, but it's true. Probably the best way to solve this is, golly gee, man, I don't know. Like, first thing in my head is pull this and bring this guy to here, you know? Bring it to here. You got this nice little bit to work with. You push this in, this guy falls, right? That's the first thing I think of. Maybe something else that might be cool is instead just pull this and push this way, and then this falls, and then you pull it again, and then that blocks this way up, and you have that landing I was just talking about. This part is very tricky because if you notice the center of this tower is here, which means that the way it spreads out is this way, like a tree, right? And so this block won't fall no matter what you do to this block. So, no matter what you do with this, there's going to be a ceiling. So you can't go this way. But 1P looks like they get a little bit confused. 2P, their objective's clear. They just have to get back up. Item is unfortunate there, but they can do it. Right, this forces 1P to go really far down. But, oh, this is scary. Okay, both of them have skulls, so this is just going to be nuts. I think over here is now the key bit. I think this is the winning spot. You got to do, yeah, there you go. Push, get up and push this. Yep. Oh, that is very unfortunate. I would push that. Yeah, or pull, that works too. I think I would have tried to push this whole thing out. Yeah, just like this. Yeah, let's see it. Perfect. Oh, he messed up. He missed it. Oh, 2P. 2P does get the win there, but 2P didn't deserve it. 2P dropped it, but 1P dropped it worse. In case that's not super clear, I guess a really important thing is when you're pushing the tower, you also have to keep in mind where your opponent has to go when you start pushing it out. And so now, about here is very nice because you know that the goal is here once you see these dark blocks here. So you know this whole side is totally jank, and they can't do anything. So, now you start pushing out the tower. Now you start pushing out the tower. When you look at something like this, you know that 1P has to drop on one of these 3 spaces, right? So especially when you do this, probably your safest bet is to stand here, I would think, and wait, and definitely, push this out. Actually, that might not be true. 1P has this item. I think actually what might have been the winning move for 1P is drop. They would have dropped onto here, down, down, up, pull, sidle, push, X factor, get up here. Now it's only if the X factor would stay on these 2 pushes, and that's not counting what 2P might have done in that time. So a little bit scary. I definitely think 2P's move right now is definitely push. I think 1P should have tried to go this way instead of coming down on top of 2P. But yeah, so 2P, they had a push there. That's fine. If I'm 1P, you had it. When you were here, you could have got a pillow hit, and then that would have fallen on him. That push, it was a read that didn't work out. So, okay, we're going to Cathedral. Next round, let's see what we get. I hope not another idiot push. We got another idiot push. But you see, yeah, this is like the variation, right? What does it really give? 1P's winning there. Right, now it's a tie, yeah, but it's really just because the idiot push is so weird. It's stupid. That's why it's the idiot push. especially a full body where blocks take years to fall. Um, this really sucks now for 1P. 2P is going to burn his juice. Now he's going to try just to get ahead. 1P, you got some crazy solves there, MST, man. I think they're a little bit whack. Not gonna lie. Um, 2P just playing again the positional game. I don't super like that. Okay, it works. This is a little bit scary. I think I would go. I think I would have gone up and tried to X here. I don't know if that. Oh, that's gonna be big for 1P. If I was 1P, I probably wouldn't have pulled that. I probably would have turned around and tried to throw the item maybe. Okay, this looks about right. Yep, you got. You see he does that? I don't know. I guess I would have preferred just a push right there. But okay, I mean, it all shakes out to the same in the end. 2P's got a really shaky tower over here, but the goal is over there. 1P not playing super strong to his strengths. This is the scare. This is one of the scary things, right? I think honestly, the bigger thing is first you want to push this out, right? This falls, and then you do a pull, and then you do a push, right? That's 3 solves to get it. Let's see what MST does. Of course, things get scary when other players are playing. So he does this, but you see, this makes it super hard for the stage to fall. You can't get over here and do a push, so you can't win super. Oh, actually, the super duper cool win. That's patented, by the way. Super duper cool win is push this, stand on top of this, and then when this falls, you climb on top of the goal. That's the super duper cool win. But it looks like these guys are a little bit confused. The X is going to give it to 1P once the juice runs out. There it is. That's the game. Okay, yada yada yada. Let's see. Idiot push number 3. We got it. And I guess that's fair. You know, one of the things in full body is where farming isn't a strategy anymore. And so there's really no advantage to choosing a slower opening. So the idiot push is technically the fastest opening, but it turns into this if both players do it. That's why I look for symmetric openings where both players can do them and they work out fine. So yeah, let's see what happens here. 2P, I mean, this is just, normal. It's about even right now. Still about even. 1P is going to do a little bit of a fight over here. 2P is a little bit slow in his reactions. A little bit messy. 1P is going to pull ahead a little bit here. 2P gets a little bit unfortunate on the items. Starts to separate out the tower, but 1P is up high enough where that doesn't super matter. 2P is very low. He hasn't used his item. Probably got to use the X. He has to burn all his X just to get back into the race. 1P, probably, if I was 1P, you know what 2P has to do, so you can start to set up some defense, right? That's probably the other big thing I think that Japan is lacking. When you are here and you see, oh yeah, especially, right, maybe I'm not watching my opponent, but I can at least watch the items. Oh, he has an X factor. Where is he? Oh, he has to come up here. Okay, well, what can I do? Probably instead of doing this, whatever this is, what the heck? What? Whoa, wait a minute. What is this solve? Anyway, probably what would have been better is 1P trying to play some defense around this, right? Obviously, 2P has to make their way up there. That's the most obvious looking one to me. 2P can instead try to change gears and push this, right, and start to do some cool stuff. But regardless, what would have been really cool, I don't know what this is. What is this? Watch this, dude. This would have been the slickest, right? Push this, and then pull that. And then you pull that way. You got this slick looking staircase, right? I don't know. Am I crazy? Am I not seeing that right? I mean, you can create very easily this. Oh, Jesus. This, right? You would get something that looks like this, and then this guy here, right? I mean, all you have to do is this guy to here, push push this to there, and then you pull, right? That's how you get that cool looking staircase. I don't know what this crazy thing that 1P does here loses him a lot of the advantage. The other thing that might work out is going this way instead. I like the idea of going this way to make a wall though. So, like, this doesn't work. You can't push that. I mean, I guess you can, right? And then you get this thing, but then you don't actually properly play defense. The other thing that you could have done, right, that would have been really slick, is just push this over here, right? Just block them. Block them and create the drawbridge where you have control over this space and you push some stuff over top. Ugh. I would have preferred coming up here and pulling this. I think pulling this and playing the defense on this block was super important. So that's another dropped opportunity. Oh man, you gotta catch on, dog. You could turn in the air. That's game there. Okay, so let's see. 2P is up. 2-1. Losers finals. Next match is the last one. I've probably been going on about this for way too long. See if I can skip ahead a little bit. Are we going back? We can't go back to the cathedral. What do we got left? I mean, we saw a bunch of stuff struck. Close encounter. Ugh. All right. So this stage, you got the lasers. I don't really... Pitaros. Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about this stage. Again, you get this symmetric kind of start. I think Japan, what they like to do in their general openings is that I think right now there are two schools of thought. The schools of thought are either I want to get ahead as fast as possible or I want to get wine glass as fast as possible. And I guess I should preface the other one with I want to get ahead and get wine glass as fast as possible, or I want to get wine glass as fast as possible. And so the thing that Japan figured out is that I can push this row. I can do a push and a pull. And, you know, that's 2 extra actions to get a wine glass early, as opposed to, you know, 1 if you go up and you push towards your opponent. I mean, anything that you spawn is closer to them, so that's kind of stinky. So, you know, if you choose to opt for just a climb, then you lose out on the item, and the wine glass is super important and super critical on this stage. So, let's see what they do. So my guess is that 1P is going to push. Oh no, okay, they just go straight up. Okay, that's the other thought. So 1P gets that wine glass. Here 2P just kind of has to play some spider. Yeah, they have to play low. They have to give it up for a little bit. That's fine. 1P continues with the juice. With the juice again. More juice. Juice for everybody. 2P still hanging in there, you know, of course. Okay, this is just getting unfair. If I was 2P, I probably would have pushed this row again and started going up this way. I don't know. I don't really like climbing up this middle bit because you don't have anywhere to go. Like, I have to stay there. This looks ugly. And that's going to be game, probably. Yeah. I mean, you could see how strong wine glass was. I'm trying to think if there was something else that 2P could have done there. Maybe a little bit earlier. I think for sure the bit was, you know, around here. Excuse me. Bit was around here. I think what you gotta do is you gotta push this 2 landing over to here. Alright, this block's hung up here, so you don't even have to worry about that. And then if you climb up here, you have a little bit of room to work with. So that's my idea, is I don't like going up this middle bit. I even would have preferred turn around, throw it this way, you know. I pretty much usually hate climbing up kind of the middle. Here what might have been kind of neat is you could spider around, get on top of this, grab this, turn around and throw, create your staircase back up. That would work too. Once he let go there, that was pretty much it. You can't go that way because the laser block, yep, but that's game. Alright. Let's see what happens this time. Round 2, ready, go. Okay, both players. A little bit of a flub from 2P. I don't know what exactly is going on here. Oh, Oh man, that was I don't know what 1P was thinking there. Uh, like even if he would have thrown his block, like you still would have died, dog. These are two highs. Uh, okay, I don't know. Uh, Baka moment, dumb moment, stupid. But anyway, show must go on. Okay, here's that wine glass tech, right? Okay, 2P pops it, so 2P will have the wine glass for longer. So that's something to keep in 1P's mind. 1P probably wants to step on that skull just to squish it as soon as possible. Uh, I don't know. Okay, let's see. Now, both players here, you kind of don't want to use your wine glass, but 1P has to because of this block now. If I was 2P, actually, probably what I would have liked to do is I might have forced this coming over. This coming over and use my wine glass, that might have been neat. Or certainly, yeah, threaten this come over, like now. Ooh, that's unfortunate. That's going to give 1P plenty of time here to do some neat stuff and set up. Yep, this is how it goes. Ooh, I would have used my juice probably, my drink. Yeah, I mean, if you're here, probably the faster thing to do is pull spider and then pull this way and go up, you know, where there's no laser block. That's probably faster in the end than just waiting. If I'm 1P, I push this. You know what I mean? Like I push this and I pull this. You know? I guess that's the other thing that Japan kind of lacks in general, and that a lot of players haven't picked up yet in full body, is how strong blocking is, right? I mean, I push this too, then I pull this way, right, and I can climb back up. That's probably the best way to handle that. Instead, when you let this happen, right, 2P is going to be able to climb up, and 2P's ahead, 1P's on the side. This is kind of ugly. You see 2P is playing a little bit smarter here, blocking this way up. Again, they're just, oh, okay, you see 2P drops it. Wow, I'm surprised. I would have watched that block or something like that. In full body, you have, I mean, you have a lot more offensive options. You're like free for days to do stuff. So laser, yeah. So we're going to a game 5. Wow, okay, cool. Let's skip ahead to game 5. I don't know what we'll see. We might see quadrangle. That's something I'm thinking. I hope not springs. Underground. Do we see underground cemetery and losers finals? Oh, awesome. That is really cool. Let's see what happens. So again, this stage has kind of changed. If you're going to push, you have to push out a lot earlier. Okay, both players opt instead for a climbing start. So you're going to see a fight around this second or third. Yeah, 2P does this bit. I like that. I like the climbing in, right? That's what's going on here. Really messing with it. This shape is now really ugly for 1P to climb. That works out beautifully. I would do a pull. Yep, this is great. I mean, this is just classic underground right now. Probably instead of pulling that, I would have used that and used it to go up. Yep, just like that. That works. All right, now they're about even, but 1P has much more advantage going on in the future with that X. So if I am 2P, what do? I look here. I think this is pretty nice. I mean, this, I probably want to push this and then get up here and push this or something like that. If I want to climb, that's the first thing I see, especially if I'm 1P. So, you know, if I see 1P, I know 1P wants to do that. I might try to get this drop kick going down. The other thing that might work out real nice is here, push this to here and pull, you know. That might be doable for 2P because I don't think they'll be able to get the drop kick. Let's see what happens. Yeah, you got issues, my man. Okay, yep. Uh-huh. This is what I was talking about. I like that. Okay, this is very crucial. 1P can't get their, you know, juice off. That's going to be it. Oh, no. They dropped it. That's game. Oh, man. Whew. Let's see, man. I'm a little bit... I guess I don't... It was a big risk to go for the crush. And I think that's reasonable, but I don't like it. I think, honestly, if I'm 1P and I am here, I think I'd instead sidle here or here and wait for them to go over top and mash to swap places and just burn my X. I think that's probably what I would do. Or that, I mean, like, once you get that, that's actually pretty slick. Uh, I mean, that, and then just stand here. You stand here and wait, and then you get a drop kick. Going for that item too early is super risky when you're that close to the top. I think crush kills kind of like that might be good to go for at the early half of the stage, not when you're at the goal, because if you mess up at the early half, you have a chance to come back, but not now, you know? Yeah, both players, okay. 2P, a little sneaky there, gets his X, so he's looking pretty primed up for the future. Stage is kind of in a weird spot. 2P drops it a little bit, gives up on this push a little bit too early, in my opinion, and does it in a weird way, because, yeah, you can kind of see, you gotta go over there and get that X and drink up, my man. Nah, you had to, I mean, obviously, not obviously, but the real bit here, this is real, nice. This is a nice idea. I would either try to push out this thing. It's only held up by these 3 blocks, right? At the end of the day, you can realistically do some push stuff and force some cool things. Once this X happens here, I mean, what you gotta do is you gotta go here, drink, go up, and I mean, this side's a little bit worse off than this side, I think, but you could drink again and go to here. Or, I mean, honestly, I definitely like the idea of just keep pushing this shit out. Actually, you're probably way too low for that now. I'm thinking it might not be too bad because, when you push, they fall, so the stage is going to fall less while you're there. But this is the last level. I didn't realize that. Yeah. Unfortunate. So, last game, last round. Let's see what happens at Underground. Okay, go for that early hit. Just one hit. That's all it takes. Right? That was scary. That set up for a possible combo, right? I mean, full body. I haven't even really been talking about those. But, I mean, you got these combos, right? If I see this, I want to stand here, and if 1P goes into the middle, bop, bop, right? Like that, But, okay, that's fine. Here, I usually prefer crossing over to my opponent, and I would have pulled this instead of going this way, but that's fine. It all shakes out in the end, right? This is a little bit, yeah, 1P, you're in a real bad spot. Gee, I don't know if I'm 1P what I want to do here. I see 2 possible ways. Either I spider and go this way, right? I might, if it's me, I'd probably do that and then push this and try to make this fall and do some shenanigans. If I am not me, I probably push this, go down, push this, and there's my way up. But yeah. Hashtag just me things. So getting back into it. Skull, it's going to hurt 2P a little bit. Okay, 1P opts to do that instead. That's fine. You see here, I mean, this whole thing, it's so fragile, man. When I look at that, oh, nice job by 2P. I think that about seals it. If I'm 2P, I have my juice. Probably what I do is I burn it and go up here, right, and push this out and then use my juice again. That's probably what I see. I don't like this bit, but it is nice. I will say it is nice because it does make it more difficult when 1P gets up there to do stuff. That's fair, I guess. This is scary. This is super scary. This side is crap. This side's good. This block is very important. if I'm 1P, probably what I have to do and what I think to do is go down here and start coming this way and pushing this out. I don't bother with this. Especially once I see that skull there, I don't bother. I go this way. I pull this and push that. This is not... Yeah, that's a dead end. What a lot of people have to learn about Underground, for sure, Sig, played that real well at the end there. But what people have to really start to think about with Underground is that once... so mathematically speaking, let me get my nerd glasses out. This is 7 across, right? The end of Underground is always, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? 3, 6, 7. So if one side drops, right? These guys go, oh, geez, I didn't mean to drop that whole thing out like that. But if, 3 blocks fall, right? You get this kind of scenario where these guys are still here, right? And realistically, this is still here too. And then, even if this side drops, right? If this side drops, the middle stays. The middle stays anchored. And so, because it's 7 across, the side that drops first will have a much more difficult time than than the other side in solving the end. So going up this left side is just, that's pretty much it. And if I really want to be picky, I guess, about this climbing, is that probably, if I was really intent, would be I would spider around and pull this, right? And then pull this and push this out and go on top of this and push this out and then pull and do some cool stuff. But I'm not super nitpicky, so I didn't say any of that. But yeah, this last bit doesn't really work. I think the best thing is this way, up, and really not even trying to climb. This way. What is the best way to push this out? I guess this guy for sure. And then I guess here, push this, right? And I think, honestly, here and push might look pretty nice. And what could be nice about that? 2P has this X. That really, 1P's just boned at that point. But what might be kind of neat, the idea, anyway, just to prolong this video even longer, push, or pull, push, up, push, here, right? This guy has now fallen. Push, these guys fall. This guy, right? Now remember how this is 7 across? Because now you kind of have this bit where this guy falls, it hangs on this side, right? If this guy falls, because it's 7 across, it still hangs on this. But if this guy falls again, right? If this guy falls again, when they're at the equal level, when this guy falls even more, this middle bit has now anchored on this side. So you can kind of play this game. I forget what it's kind of called, but whichever side falls last, I guess. So if you make this side fall a couple times, you're actually advantageous because it will make the middle fall, but the middle will catch on to the opposite side. So it's really cool, actually. So if you see your opponent ahead near the end of Underground, what you have to do, instead of having to worry about pushing out the whole stage, really all you have to do is worry about pushing out half the stage. And even then, you only have to worry about pushing out half the stage a little bit. What actually, now that I'm looking at this, what might be a really kind of cute maneuver is to push this way, and then push this twice. That's a little bit ugly. But that was something I was thinking about, right, is instead of having these 3 columns trying to collapse it to 2. Is there a better way to do that? Maybe instead I could push this and pull this, and no, that doesn't quite work out, because even if I push this and this guy falls, it's still hanging on this. So yeah, scrap some of that idea. This bit though is not good, so I'll let the end of the the match play out. But yeah, like we already talked about, right? You see there, it doesn't really matter because 2P has his juice. And so 2P win. Sig went on to grand finals. And yeah, MST, awesome. Sig reppin' the Chachi, the Call Me Gaming, the Monster Block, looking real cool. Anyway, that's it for this video. So hopefully that is useful to somebody. See ya.